Hey, what's up, nerds? It's me, El, back at it again to talk about Hunter at You. The latest chapter of independent World of Darkness animation, Hunter the Parenting, Father-Son Burger Nightmare, drops just this Friday, and it is everything I wanted and more from Door and Boy Go to Evil McDonald's. Between my love of this series and my last video doing better than some of my mighty 9 episodes, including comments from the creators, holy hell thank you, I'd love to keep covering each new chapter here on the channel, but it would feel wrong to hop into reviewing this series in the middle, and so, as official channel gamer, I propose a speedrun challenge. I'm going to attempt to break down the events of each episode of Hunter the Parenting so far in 1 minute or less, and you, dear viewers, will be my scorekeepers. Let me know in the comments how many times I make the time limit. Also, between chapter summaries will be a quick sidebar for WOD lore relevant to each episode to keep everyone up to speed, plus just a bit of my own speculation. I hope folks new to the series find this educational recap helpful, and fellow fans find it entertaining. Alright, everyone got their stopwatches ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go! Chapter 1, Adorable Family Trip. Big D, Marcus, Kitten, Door, and Boy investigate a string of disappearances in nearby woods, rambling about fears and folklore until they stumble upon the reason for the vanishings, some mysterious old tunnels, and the vampire pack that unlives in them. The family nearly hands the vamps their asses with stakes, they nearly get their asses handed to them with vampire mind control, and the day is saved by Big D's love of hardcore hallucinogens. They take the vampires prisoner, not knowing they're being watched. And welcome to the Lore Corner. Hunters sometimes refer to vampires as blanks or blank bodies in reference to their vital signs coming up blank. Vampires in WoD are divided into clans, bloodlines with specific abilities and weaknesses. Kitten's got the idea right, but the name's wrong. Sludge Lad Piotr is a Nosferatu, inhuman-looking vamps that stalk the sewers and shadows. Humanimal Ape Boy is a gangrel, feral animalistic predators who skirt the edges of civilization. Biker Bro-like Shitbeard is a Bruja, compulsive counterculture rebels with the beef to back it up. And Vampire Wizard Kevin is a Tremere, blood sorcerers who enforce clan hierarchy through mental domination. Staking a vampire through the heart doesn't kill them, but sends them into a coma-like state called torpor. Chapter 1.1, Kitten and Big D's primer on supernatural and local folklore. It's breakfast time at Kitten's house after last night's big vampire hunt, and Big D guides Kitten through preparing the world's least edible omelet. Kitten tells D more about various Norfolk cryptids and ghost stories like Evil Dog Black Shuck. D tells Kitten more about vampires, wraiths, mages, and werewolves, and the omelet is so potent it destroys their blender. Just the strength Big D's looking for to torture their vampire prisoners. Lore time again. If vampires consume anything that isn't blood, or sometimes even blood that doesn't suit their preferences, it tastes disgusting and they will vomit it back up, usually immediately, but there are abilities that can let them hold it in a little while. Wraiths are ghosts, the mental and spiritual remains of a person whose body has died. To explain mages, all humans are passive reality warpers. Our collective subconscious agreement on how the world works forms a norming force called consensus. Mages are humans with enough willpower and outside-the-box thinking to become active reality warpers and push back against consensus. Werewolves, meanwhile, will come back to werewolves. Chapter 1.2, The Probing of Kevin. Often Big D's secret catacomb lair, the great and mighty Kevin has held strong under physical violence and omelet torture, but begins to crack under social pressure and some surprisingly empathetic treatment from D. He opens up about his human life as a lowly cat-loving accountant, his indoctrination by the Tremere and induction into the Camarilla as an oft-ignored financial advisor, and his flight to the Sabbat with no other option, endearing himself to viewers and Big D, who offers genuine support, which Kevin eventually accepts. And more lore. Along with clans, Western vampires are separated largely across 3 political organizations: the Camarilla, the capitalist feudalists run by princes, the Sabbat, the quasi-religious fascists run by archbishops, and the Anarchs, just put an ist in there. They're everyone else who wants nothing to do with either faction, and when they organize, they're led by barons. Clan Tremere also has their own rigid hierarchy known as the Pyramid, with local chantries led by regents. Chapter 2, If the Vampires Had a Tortured Wrestling Match. While Big D is off bonding with Kevin, the rest of the family interrogate the other vampires locked in their basement monster prison. The vamps bickering with their captors and each other gives insight into their characters and the political disorder and ideological unsustainability of the Sabbat's K-Night naturalism. Marcus, wanting to learn more about vampires and with no sympathy for them, at least at first, decides to unleash them and let them eat each other while he and Door engage in marginally sadistic pro-wrestling commentary. Piotr emerges the victor right as as Big D gets back and emphatically informs his children that he knows what happens when vampires eat each other and it's really bad. And then Piotr escapes. Alright, lore corner. Along with kindred, vampires are occasionally referred to as Cainites. As per their creation myth, the biblical Cain was the first vampire, not Carmilla, though the novella Carmilla did predate the book Dracula. Particularly pretentious vampires may refer to humans as kine, an archaic term for cattle. The Masquerade, name-dropped in the title of Vampire the Masquerade, refers to vampires' practice of hiding their existence from humanity. The Sabbat resent this and wish to rule humanity openly, but for now with humans' technical and numbers advantage, it's a tactical necessity. A vampire fully consuming another vampire's blood, or vitae, is called diablerie. This grants the diablerist a good chunk of their victim's power, but also destroys the victim's soul, and is liked by vampires about as much as we like murder and cannibalism. Chapter 3. Hunters, Hunters, Hunted. The family is chased around the house and picked off by a freshly empowered, vengeful, recruitment-minded Piotr and their own poor planning. Marcus and Big D are violently put out of commission before Kitten, armed with stilts and a stirred lecture, is able to lure Piotr into the literal minefield that is their front lawn. This still doesn't kill the juiced-up vamp, but it gives Door just enough of an opening for an epic speech and a clutch assist from Boy to send Piotr into torpor right as the sun rises and finishes him off. And right as the police respond to Kitten's house alarm. For a quick explainer of a term Piotr threw out, shovel-heading is a Sabbat tactic for recruiting cannon fodder. Turn, or as they call it, embrace, a group of humans, knock them out with a shovel, huck them all in a mass grave, and whoever survives waking up in a pit of hungry vampires gets recruited. 8-Boy joined the Sabbat as a shovelhead, and it's implied Piotr planned to do the same to the family. Halloween Special, A Life Well Lived. Sometime before the series, Big D, on the hunt for vampires, follows the trail to a house which has been the site of a massacre. The perpetrator, an elderly woman and newborn vampire, solemnly explains herself. After a lifetime of living for others, her vampire caretaker tried to give her a new life for herself, only for her to fall to her new bloodthirsty instincts. Big D leads her to a peaceful, dignified death by sunrise. Lore-wise, embracing both children and the elderly is frowned upon in kindred society, as demonstrated here, their weaker minds make them far more likely to enter a state of frenzy. Chapter 3.1 Big D's Guide to Avoiding Arrest. Big D must somehow navigate being interrogated by the police, ensuring he and his family aren't pinned with any of their own or the vampire's illegal actions while keeping their testimonies consistent and not letting anything about vampires slip. Not only would Vamp Talk get them labeled nuts, breaking the masquerade would bring every vampire in the princedom on their heads, and the police force could be riddled with vampire agents. Indeed, not only does Big D artfully talk his way past all charges, he discovers that his interrogator, Sergeant Guy Chapman, is a ghoul of the local Tremere regent, Kevin's sire, and manages to bring him over to their side, with Kevin reluctantly agreeing to provide him a steadier supply of vitae. Some quick lore: if a vampire dies without getting ashed by the sun, their body decays as if they had died at the moment of embrace, which does a lot to confuse the police investigating the house. A ghoul is any non-vampire that consumes vampire vitae, which is highly addictive, grants the ghoul some first-level vampiric abilities, and creates a mental effect known as the blood bond. It's like if heroin gave you superpowers and a crush on your dealer. Short number 1. Highly controversial debate. Choose your side. Big D and Kevin argue the feasibility of purchasing a replacement blender at the 99-pence store. Big D is for, Kevin is against. They do this while riding on top of a miniature train. Chapman is also there, making things worse. This short lives in my head rent-free. I literally have it memorized. No wad lore here, just some interesting facts about the history of blenders and that this miniature train is a thing that really exists in Norfolk. Chapter 3.2 Something is Wrong with Horse. The family all take turns taking care of Big D's confirmed favorite child, his horse named Horse, who is so sick he's vomiting up blood, which horses can't even do. Horse provides a set of listening ears for each of the family members to talk to. His father, Dean, uses on his frustrations with his children and the challenges of keeping them safe. His brother Marcus offloads his resentment of his father's secrecy and favoritism. Their brother Dor provides reassurance and relaxing stories about his day of normal hunting. His brother-in-law Kitten recounts his harrowing first encounter with a vampire, and his beloved nephew Boy receives a prophecy of patricidal doomsday as Horse reveals himself to be definitely not a normal horse. Lore-wise, Lord knows what Horse is supposed to be, but his divination name-drops various creatures. Kine and kindred we know, and Garou is werewolves. Again, we'll get to them. Milklings refers to changelings, fae who have left the dream realm of Arcadia to incarnate in human-ish forms. It's also specifically a derogatory term, so I guess Horse is racist against fairies? Elohim generally refers to angels, though some demons still refer to themselves with this pre-fall terminology. Chapter 3.3 Marcus goes pubbing with his weirdo friends, gets in a brawl. Marcus, still physically recovering from Piotr's attack, hits the town with his ex-work friends from the Arcanum, soft-spoken gym bro Harry, deadpan goth queen Elise, and painfully period-accurate weeaboo Grimmel, who is also Kitten's ex. They have an unfortunate run-in with Marcus's nemesis Brock, son of Big D's nemesis Remold Blacklaw, and they trade verbal barbs, humiliating pranks, and physical violence until a volley of unlikely coincidences finally lays the oaf out. Back to the lore corner, while the D family hunts independently now, they previously worked for the Arcanum, a scholarly society dedicated to studying rather than combating the supernatural, a clash which eventually saw them kicked out by Arcanum Elder Remold. The series of unfortunate events that lays out Brock, meanwhile, bears suspicious resemblance to the workings of a fledgling mage, who don't always know they're mages. Chapter 3.4 The Blender Crusade, in spiteful defiance of corporate villainy. Determined to prove Kevin wrong, Big D embarks on his quest to buy a new blender at the 99p store. Upon arrival, he encounters one of Brock's goons, Giles, aka Git, working his day job, and proceeds to unleash incredible Karen energy against him, the store's manager Polly, and his own self-doubts, until Giles breaks and agrees to sell him the break room blender. On the way to retrieve it, however, D is drawn into a restricted area and to the edge of a mysterious, bottomless pit. Just a bit of lore here, the Gargo's products in the store, as well as other products mentioned offhand throughout the series, are subsidiaries of global megacorporation Pentex. More on them later. Chapter 3.5 The Blender Crusade, Assault on the Elderly, a Financial Horror. In Part 2 of the Blender Saga, Big D finds in the bowels of the earth a dark mirror of the 99p shop, one that does indeed stock blenders, staffed only by the enigmatic Blue Man. D's Karenisms continue as he tries to understand what exactly he is dealing with no luck as horrors mount. The Blue Man reveals itself to be an unspeakable monstrosity who Big D is certain should be dead, and this 99p store is actually the 99-pound store. Ugh. Suddenly, Big D awakens in the back room, supposedly having only passed out. But then where did the blender in his hand come from? Deeply unsettled, but his quest successful, D leaves before he can learn that Polly, and indeed the whole 99p store, is in the pocket of the Tremere Regent. Lore-wise, we don't know yet what the Blue Man is. If I had to guess, I'd say True Fae is closest, but there are plenty of other options out there. As to where the 99-pound store is, it's almost certainly part of the Umbra, the spirit world of WoD, a many-faceted mystical reflection of reality. I'm not sure where in the Umbra it sits, the Umbra being largely divided into 3 sections. The lower Umbra holds things that were, it's where wraiths unlive when they're not poking through the gauntlet into reality. The middle Umbra reflects things that are, that's where you find nature spirits and the like, and the upper Umbra is things that could be, including creatures of dream and imagination like the Fae. Chapter 3.6 2006 Gamer Podcast. No monster hunting this episode, just Kitten and Marcus trying and failing to have a productive conversation about video games while being an adorably realistic couple who have different media tastes and bicker about chores and razz each other for saying words wrong. No major lore, just impeccable vibes. Chapter 3.7 Ghoul Lore, Big D and Kitten's Crash Course on Fatally Addicted. Big D returns home from the Blender Crusade and helps Kitten hunt down a possible rat infestation, which he's worried might be ghouled vampire spies. As they traipse about the property, interrogating the minutiae of vampire blood slaves and leaving a path of destruction in their wake, we find out that Kevin told Big D there's a ghoul spy within the local Arcanum chapter house. The rats in the walls turn out to be stray dogs that D is convinced to adopt, and the reason Big D has refused to share any paranormal information with Marcus for the past 20 years is that the last time he did, preteen Marky accidentally summoned an eldritch devourer beyond mortal ken, and the brother he was trying to save from being condemned to the Shadow Realm got condemned to the Shadow Realm even harder, and he has no memory of this. Wow! Lore-wise, many fans speculate that the thing Marcus summoned was a manifestation of the Worm, one of the 3 fundamental entities of the Umbra's spiritual triad. The Wild is the creator, the Weaver is the preserver, and the Worm is the destroyer. This primordial trinity is supposed to be balanced. For many reasons, it is not. Chapter 3.8 Half Demon, All Hunter, Boy Story. On the bus ride to the Arcanum, which the family plans to break into to root out the ghoul spy, Boy shares a story he's been writing about Akira Cross, Vampire Slayer. His writing and art are both painfully relatable to anyone who's tried to write a book when they were 12, and serves as an indirect character study of Boy, pulling from his interests, aspirations, admiration of his family and fears of losing them, and the fearful echoes of his encounters with the vampires and his Uncle Horse. Not much WoD-specific lore here, just fun facts about math history, Crazy Frog, and Boy receiving visitations from the Chariot of God in his dreams, as one does. Chapter 4: The Feuds of Our Fathers. The gang arrive at the Arcanum for their ghoul hunt, and immediately things start going to hell. The building is locked down for the investigation, which disappoints Dor and Boy, who are left outside, but the chapter house is already pretty full, featuring Big D, Marcus, Kitten, Marcus's buddies, Brock, his minions Gitten Spit, D's sworn enemy Remold, D's ex-husband, Chancellor Occam, elders Dr. Waters and Lord Fatigue, and cleaning staff Amanda and Matilda. Tensions are high as personal feelings get in the way of collaboration. Occam is attacked trying to suss out the ghoul, and everyone keeps splitting up. But Old Man Fatigue stands out as the cast's rock, reaching out to a panicking Spit, trying to keep the investigation on track, and getting bloodily ripped apart in a locked door mystery. What? Lore-wise, I wish I could tell you more about Occam's solar sorcery, but that's not from WAD, that's original homebrew based on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I could still talk about, but let's stay on topic because seriously, what? Short number 2, Detective Kevin's First Day. Kevin rides along with Chapman on an investigation and accidentally triggers a serial murder confession. Lore-wise, a great demonstration of the mental side effects of vampiric domination. Short number 3, Tremere Antitribu enters frenzy seeing likeness stolen and capitalized on. The Tremere Regent is selling plushies bearing a striking resemblance to Kevin. Chapman has one. Kevin is violently displeased about this. Not much lore in these 21 seconds, just Antitribu meaning a vampire who goes against their clan, and these plushies being a real thing that the channel was marketing. Chapter 4.1, Vampire Lore, Big D's Guide to Vampiric Powers. Marcus, backed up by Kitten and Dr. Waters, pushes Big D to explain what abilities the ghoul, or possibly full vampire now, might have used to kill Lord Fatigue. Marcus and his father have it out regarding Big D's secrecy, both say things they really shouldn't, nothing is resolved, and no one is happy. Short number 4, Special Treatment. Kevin is settling into his consulting role with the Norfolk Police, his abilities comically endearing him to the police chiefs more than Chapman could ever dream. Chapter 5, Don't Take Me for a Ghoul. Fatigue's death kicks suspicions in the chapter house into full gear as rivalries are set aside in favor of finding the creature responsible, because they're not sure they're even looking for a ghoul anymore. Secrets are uncovered, accusations are flying, Marcus has a helpful encounter with an ominous artifact, and Elise is nearly executed before a clutch observation from Git. If I had a nickel for every time someone's drug dependence saved the day in this series, you know how the rest of the meme goes. It turns out Matilda infiltrated the chapter house as a maid to steal their personnel files because she's a goddamn werewolf who proceeds to absolutely wreck house and abduct Marcus as she escapes into the Umbra. And now we finally get into werewolf lore. The Garou, as they call themselves, are spiritual hybrids of human and wolf, created by the Earth Spirit Gaia and Moon Spirit Luna to defend the natural world from the worm's destruction. But between them being part fallible human and literally fueled by rage, they're not the most functional or successful at pursuing that goal. They're also, at a baseline, some of the most OP creatures in the world of darkness and can gain further strange abilities from making deals with nature spirits. One taking on an entire Arcanum chapter is not a surprise. Just seeing a werewolf in Krenos, their war form, sends normal humans into a primal panic known as the delirium. But they're not the only WAD creatures introduced this episode. The Oculus Empyrean Marcus uses to follow Matilda's trail bears the symbol of the Imbued, hunters with a capital H, people chosen and empowered by mysterious spirits to defend mankind from monsters, people whose origin stories bear a striking resemblance to Boy's recent actions. Chapter 5.1, Plain Police Work. Kevin and Chapman share backstories while driving to a police conference. Kevin bemoaning his days working fast food, Chapman sharing how he went from kid to cop to blood addict, when they're cut off by a plane being shot out of the sky. Chapman convinces Kevin to investigate, and they manage to pull some evidence from the crash before getting caught between the crash's survivor and perpetrators. On one side, Bennings, disgusting smoke mutant, and on the other, creepy corporate executive Palmer, flanked by manic gunnut Blair and massive bruiser Ross, who drags Bennings off never to return. Meanwhile, Palmer engages our buddy cops in polite conversation in which he reveals he's connected to Kevin's sire and pulls off some acts of mental domination no human should do. He talks them into handing over a spooky lantern they recovered, but, lucky lads, doesn't take the briefcase they found. Time for lore. Between referencing Gargos and Nastrum Aeronautics, Palmer and his goons are almost certainly members of Pentex, which isn't just normal megacorporation evil, but is a cult of the worm that employs various monsters and is actively trying to make the world worse. The Pentex gang are also all named after characters from the movie The Thing, except for Ross, who is probably a werewolf and has plenty of theories about him, but most of those connect back to this series' roots in Warhammer 40k, and we're here for WAD, so we're moving on. Chapter 5.2, Werewolf Lore, Big D and Kitten's unveiling of the Garou. Kitten, Big D, and Matilda's ex-work bestie Amanda search for anything to help them find Marcus, finding Lord Fatigue's records of his werewolf hunting career. They alternate between reviewing his research and listening to recordings of his formative years hunting Garou in the Philippines. Turns out Fatigue's father was an evangelical colonialist who tried to induct his son into his anti-werewolf cult, but Fatigue defied him and went on to make reparations to the indigenous peoples they'd victimized. Our hunters muse on how they themselves will have to ally with nefarious forces against the protectors of the earth in order to rescue Marcus. For the lore, Fatigue Sr. and his cronies are stolen moons, humans who make deals with dark spirits and hunt and skin werewolves in order to become Walmart value werewolves who everyone hates. Meanwhile, this episode draws heavy attention to the presence of flies, which have made background appearances throughout the series. We don't have confirmation of what this means, but the spirit of Fly does serve the worm and is a patron of Pentex. Also, it's real-life folklore, not WAD, but we're getting more references to the Black Shuck. And last but not least, our newest edition, Chapter 5.3, Father-Son Burger Nightmare. We get a window into Door's protective paranoia as he takes Boy out for fast food at Otelli's to make up for missing the ghoul hunt. He has a brief encounter with Blair on their way to shooting down a plane, grows suspicious of the Otelli's manager, struggles to parent a traumatized preteen as they investigate said manager, thinks back on a female voice who is almost certainly said preteen's mom, who it's implied isn't dead, and with Boy's help shoots the manager in his creepy burger monster face. He then gets the call we heard Big D make in Chapter 5.2, and he and Boy, as promised in Chapter 5.1, set the restaurant on fire. Lore-wise, Otelli's is another Pentex subsidiary that sells cursed food, and the manager, like many other Pentex employees, was a Fomor, a human possessed and mutated by a worm spirit called a Bane. He wasn't that good at hiding it, you can even see the worm's spiral symbol in the grease stains on his pocket, but others are much more subtle. Bennings from 5.1 was also likely a Fomor. Whew, and that's it. That's all of Hunter the Parenting, at least for now. How did I do with the speedrun? How did I do recapping the series? Let me know my score in the comments below, and if you'd like to see more dedicated episode reviews for Hunter as they come out. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, check out our other videos, and subscribe to see more. If you like TTRPGs, my review of the Mighty Nein finale drops in just a few days, and if you want to find more animation fans, check out the Cartoon Universe Discord linked in the video description. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and may all your burgers be uncursed.